It's a bit crazy to me how fast you can get to pit 100 in Season 7 if you're playing a Necromancer. Most specifically if you're playing Bloodwave. This build is absolutely ridiculous. Probably shouldn't have made it through to live in its current state. Even with its damage nerfs, it didn't affect it enough to keep it from doing what it's doing. At this point in the footage, I've been playing for a grand total of about 14 hours. And in that time, I played mostly minions to level, and then the moment I got the unique pants, Keseme's Legacy, and the fast blood aspect, I swapped to Bloodwave, and the difference was disgusting and noticeable. I was going from tier 1 in Torment to tier 4 Torment, and one-shotting Torment 4 bosses in 3-player health, with my 2 friends standing there watching me kill it instantly. The fact that you really only need a couple aspects to get this going, and just one major unique you can probably pick up for 100, 150 million gold, depending on who's feeling generous on the trade site or on the Discord, is insane. So, if you're playing a Necromancer this season, or you're trying to pivot to something that does crazy damage because maybe something you're playing is bugged, or you're just not having that much fun, Bloodwave is what I can suggest to you. The best way I can describe it is, if you knew how powerful Spiritborn were in Season 6, that's what this is in Season 7. It may not be doing trillions upon quadrillions of ridiculous damage, but it's very tanky, it does a lot of damage, and for very little input. At this point in the game, I'm only Paragon 151. My gear is not great and could be heavily optimized, and I don't even have my 5th glyph in its slot yet. I have most of my witch powers between level 3 and 5. I don't even have all the correct witch powers. I don't have any witch gems. You can kind of see the potential here. I'll stop glazing the build at this point. It kind of speaks for itself in the footage. So the main thing I'll point out first is the fact that I do have a Shaco. This helped me get to pit 100 a lot faster, and that's mainly because it allowed me to have more armor on a single item and the damage reduction. The health also helps with survivability and damage. This was a big part of how I got there so fast, if only because it filled in the gap where I was missing armor when I hit Torment 4. And that allowed me to swap in some more diamonds for resistance, but at the end of the day, I don't think this was necessary. I genuinely think even without getting this, I could have easily gotten here. It just might have taken maybe another hour of playtime. The cooldown reduction is nice. This would have been great in any other season with any other build, but with how many blood orbs are coming out of everything, I don't really need it that much. It's just a nice, small, feely kind of thing. Everything else follows the max roll guide for what you should be grabbing. Only a few slots are switched around, mostly because I have the helmet, and it would be in the ancestral section of that guide. Hardened bones on a chest piece. I have life, armor, and int, kind of ideal. Got the armor temper as well as the lucky hit stun temper, just to stagger stuff quicker and get it to unstoppable quicker. Ultimate shadow on gloves. I have crit, life, intelligence. They're pretty okay. Damage while fortified, core potential size is nice. Keseme's Legacy, I was fortunate enough to get a GA version of this, though I kind of wish it had rolled GA on the double damage, or maybe even the ultimate damage, though the double damage is better. The cooldown is nice, but it doesn't really do much for me with all the blood orbs everywhere. Cursed Aura on my boots. I would rather these boots not have int and life and rather have all res and armor, so I could solve some of those problems. And that would make it so I don't need the Shaco as much. I, funnily enough, forgot to reroll this weapon from vulnerable to overpower damage on the 3rd slot. So, as you can see, even with kind of scuffed gear, you're doing pretty good. This is a nice GA mace I found just randomly, like 5 or 6 hours ago. Saved it for this exact build. Worked great. Lucky enough to hit the tempers on it. Necklace, I was fortunate to find a Tides of Blood with life on it. I rolled movement speed just because I like moving fast. I hate not moving fast. Necromancer sucks at moving fast, so I stack as much movement speed as possible to not go crazy. Ring with fast blood, the paramount aspect we need here. Ultimate cooldown, always nice. Blood over power damage. I want damage while fortified, but I kind of stopped while I was ahead because I was afraid of slamming something bad. And then Vehement Brawlers. This is a nice one. Extra multiplicative damage when you cast an ultimate for 8 seconds. Also +2 additional ranks to your ultimate skills. So just more damage. Ultimate cooldown. I've got blood damage on here because I break the tempers. You can see 0.6, so love that system. Paragon, you can go ahead and just follow Max Roll's guide for endgame Bloodwave. Skills are pretty much exactly the same as the Max Roll guide. I deviated a little and I probably shouldn't have. The only thing I would change is I'd probably take the points out of Lucky Hit, just because of the crazy Lucky Hit chance already on Bloodwave, and I'd put it into movement speed because I like movement speed. Don't put a point in Transfusion. I don't know why I did that. You don't need the Blood Orbs, and it only happens once every 2 seconds. Paragon, I'm just following the glyph guide for endgame Bloodwave, link in description. I don't even have my 5th glyph slot yet. But just follow along with that. It'll do you well. I'll probably tweak this more later and optimize it a little more, as there's a few things I can see that would probably work better in some places, but I'll have to wait and see. Just a few things I learned while playing the build to make it a little easier for you if you're transitioning into it. You're going to need to get used to how Kesami's legacy works, and by that I mean the way these waves come in to the left or right of your character based on where you're facing. So if you're in a hallway, let's assume this road right here I'm standing on is a hallway, and you have enemies coming at you from this direction where my cursor is, you're going to want to angle yourself so the blood wave hits them a little better. Not always fully necessary, as it does have a pretty wide area of damage, but it makes it a little easier. It's a little more efficient. Ideally, things are in the middle, so they get crashed on and exploded on really easily. Next thing you want to pay attention to, Rotham's Vigor. 15 stacks, you get guaranteed overpower. That's your main damage. All your damage comes from overpowering with Bloodwave. Well, picking up Blood Orbs refreshes it. So you use Wave, you pick up Orbs, you get it back, there it is. Use it again, another overpower, pick up Orbs. When you're doing the pit, in between this, you're spamming Corpse Explosion on the corpses you're creating with Lucky Hit and from killing things. Casting again at 15. Casting again. You're weaving in Blight casts on ads. And you're spamming Tendrils on cooldown if you can, for extra blood orbs and to pull everything in. That's the best method I've found. Anyway, it's getting really late. It's been 14 hours. I'm gonna hit the hay. If you have any questions about the build, you can leave them in the comments. I'll be happy to look them over. If you want to watch the build live, I stream Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. Drop on by. Have a good night.